All righty. Welcome back to the ReEducation Camp podcast. Karen O'Toole, being joined by the always punctual, always reliable, newly transformed on a new, evolution of life. The one and only Collin Miller is with me, who we did a little bit of a Freaky Friday role reversal. I was the late one today, and he was waiting for me. So I do apologize for that. But we're both here for an exciting week. We just wrapped up we didn't wrap up, but the Democratic National Convention just wrapped up. Big, exciting, crazy, historic announcement from RFK Jr. We got a lot to talk about. Of course, later on the show, we might get to some comments. We'll also get to our favorite horoscope time as we bring in Pepper a little bit, Season of the Witch. But first up, I want to tell you, Collin, before we jump in, I know you have some pet issues you want to talk about. I do want to
I have
talk
some
about,
grievances I want to air.
yes. Well, you see, there's all this political stuff that is just taking us away from the most important topics of the day. And images around the world were just shared the other day of Justin Bieber and Haley Bieber's, who is Stephen Baldwin's daughter. They have their baby, and that is really what we should be talking about. Like, those are the issues that matter, because now, like, there's all these people that want Selena Gomez and Justin to get back together. But I think now that he's consummated his marriage and he has a baby, like, that just cannot happen. So it's definitely rip to Selena and Justin. That is a love that it's kind of like it's like the Liz Taylor and what's his name? Not Rock Hudson. No, what's his I'm blanking on the name. Liz Taylor, she got married multiple times to the same
Do we
guy.
have to Google this
We
now?
now have to Google it because I'm
Who
an
is Liz
idiot. I
Taylor married
totally
to?
She married him twice. It's people are gonna write in the comments and be like, of
Liz
course, why did you
Taylor's
not know
husband. Let's
this?
see here.
Not Spencer Tracy. I think she was married to him though too.
So she was married to Richard Burton
Richard Burton, that's it. Yes. It's
twice.
like, yes. So they were like the couple that just kept getting back together. That
This
like
woman
just
got
could not.
around, I'll tell you
She did.
what.
She was married like
There's a
12 times.
there's a
But
long list of husbands. My goodness.
yeah, so that is what we should be talking about, but unfortunately, it's an election season, so we have to make believe that Colin and I are prognosticators.
The last I heard of Justin Bieber was that he had come down with Guillain-Barré as a reaction from
Yes.
the vax. That was the last time that I heard his name mentioned, and he kind of fell off my radar after that. But clearly, you're really up on the whole
Well,
on the whole
listen,
Bieber saga
this
here.
is what the people want. We've had some listeners that have told me we need a little bit more Selena, and they tell me that's the ticket to success, is wading into those waters. But we are going to do our best to discuss the Democratic National Convention. But really, do you want to get into there's this whole JD Vance thing? I think that's where we start. It's
I'm
where
like
we start.
chomping at the bit here to show this
Colin is
clip.
dying to show me this. Yeah, this and share with our viewers as well. This special JD Vance clip if you haven't seen it yet. So take it away, Colin.
Alrighty, so JD Vance, this clip, I don't know if this was like a week ago. He was on a campaign stop somewhere in Georgia. Now let me preface this by saying that I think that everybody knows what we have with JD Vance now. Like the word is out, the mask is off. Everyone has now come to the realization of like, oh, okay, this guy is like something's off here. Something is weird. The
Something is
left,
rotten in Denmark.
they're actually correct about the weird comment. And I don't even want to say anymore. Let me share this clip with you. We're going to watch this clip. We're going to analyze it. And I want to get your thoughts here, Karen. So let me just pull this up again. This is JD Vance campaign stop here somewhere in Georgia at a donut shop. I don't know if this was a Dunkin' Donuts, but here we go. Let's see. Share sound. It's very important. Alrighty, I'm gonna fire it away.
The zoo has come to town. Thank you for letting us come in here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'm sorry, man. Okay, yeah. She doesn't want to be on film, guys, so just cut her out of anything. Appreciate that, man. I'm JD Vance. I'm running for vice president. Good to see you.
Okay.
How long have you worked here?
I've been here since the beginning of July
Okay.
of this year.
Okay, good. How about you, sir?
Almost 2 years.
Okay, good. Just everything, yeah. I mean, a lot of glazed here, some sprinkle stuff, some of these cinnamon rolls, just whatever makes sense. How long has this place been around?
About 4 years.
About 4 years? Okay. How long have you been here?
A little over 6 months.
Okay, good. The zoo has come to town.
So
boy. Oh God.
you can clearly tell that this guy has not interacted with normal human beings out in the wild in at least a good decade, maybe more. Because these Silicon Valley tech guys, they lost their humanity a long time ago, okay? The Peter Thiels, the Mark Zuckerbergs, they don't really they lost touch many years ago of what it's like to be a normal, regular human being out there in the world. I mean, you can tell the donut shop workers, their responses and their reaction to him. You can tell they were very annoyed, and he's like, "Hey, I'm JD Vance. I'm running for vice president," and the girl's like, "Okay." Like, and like, what do you want
Do
from
you want
me?
jelly? Do you want jelly or do
Yeah.
you want Boston cream? Can you
Yeah,
just
do you want?
can we get going here? She's
And you can
not-
tell he's like, you can tell this was all set up too, because he's like, okay, just put in some sprinkle stuff, whatever makes sense, like just to complete this little
Yeah,
facade here.
I think you know me very well. You know I have a passion for donuts, particularly jelly donuts. So it does kind of hurt my soul a little bit to see somebody not come in to come. I know he's like supposed to be on a diet or something. I mean, it seemed like before he was the kind of person that understood a good donut. Like he looked like he got it.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, so I can understand
portly,
some people don't
portly,
don't
yes, but
enjoy donuts as much as I do. But like you said, I want to push back and just say that Mark Zuckerberg is starting to kind of transform into a real human again, though. I think because he's been doing this jujitsu, he's been spending some time around real people. He is kind of getting back into it, except for he had that weird statue of his wife a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you saw that. He unveiled a statue of his wife, but like at least it's not some kind of phallic statue or statue of like
right.
of some kind of satanic demonic
It's
figure. Like
it's
it's
not
his
like a
wife.
Jeffrey Epstein statue.
Yes, yes. And how do we know that somebody didn't present him with that and then he was just trying to be nice about it and say, "Oh, look at this beautiful." And it looked like his wife, him and his wife actually look like they have a genuinely good relationship. Like they look pretty. I always get a good vibe from him and his wife. They look like just kind of like two nerdy people that fell in love, and good for them. But Mark is starting to become a little bit more less alien, a little less robotic. But like you see that it's so and really what I believe what we see with this JD Vance clip is how much that persona and charisma is so important in politics. Like whether we like it or not, it's not about policy, it's about personality, it's about the cult of personality. Like it
It's
really
about
is.
vibes.
Yes,
We
yeah,
live in a culture
absolutely.
where it's
Yeah.
all about the vibes.
Yes.
And that's part of the reason why Kamala,
Yes.
however you say her name,
Mm-hmm.
that's why she's doing so well right now, because it doesn't really matter what the policy is. It's who's throwing the party and who's got the vibes. And right
Absolutely.
now, she's got it. And again, this clip of JD Vance just really says it all, doesn't it? It's like, oh, so this is who we've got. Just a reptoid, basically. Let's just say it. A reptilian, a guy who traded in his humanity to Silicon Valley oligarchs many, many years ago. He doesn't know how to act human. He doesn't know how to talk with normal, average, everyday people. I mean, Trump never lost touch with that. And a case in point, that interview that he did with Theo Vaughn, that was the best thing that I've seen from Trump in quite some time. That hour-long Theo Vaughn interview, you really got a sense of, I mean, I just enjoy listening to him. I love when people are able to get him in candid settings where he sort of like
Yes.
talks off the cuff about his life and his experiences. And he said so many interesting things in that interview about his brother Fred and his
Yeah.
Fred's struggles with alcoholism. And it was just a really refreshing interview that showed the humanity of Donald Trump. And I don't know if you're capable of extracting that from a guy like JD Vance at this point in his life.
Yes, and absolutely. I did love the Theo Von Trump interview because, as you know, me and Trump are chronically sober. So we're we
That's
are
right.
I don't know that Trump, I don't know if he mentioned this, or I'm sure at some point in time I wonder if Trump's ever been drunk, because I've never been
No,
drunk, and I don't know that Donald Trump has ever been
he's
drunk
never had a
also.
sip of alcohol, apparently,
Wow,
ever.
yeah. Yeah. I've actually drank more alcohol than Donald Trump apparently. But I did love when he was like asking Theo Von like what being on cocaine is like, and I
Oh, that
feel
was a
like
classic.
that's something like I always talk to people about, like, oh, what is like being drunk feel like? What does that feel like? Because I'm not very familiar with it. And he seemed like genuinely curious about it. But I almost felt like Trump was asking him because Theo was talking like kind of negatively about it. And I think that Trump was trying to be like, I felt like it was almost directed at somebody though. Like he was like, "Yeah, I told you this cocaine sucks. Like I told you that." Like Trump wanted to like be right. Like he was like, "Yeah, I knew that's what it was like. I knew
See,
that's
to
how it
me,
really." Yeah.
it was almost like a childlike curiosity to me.
Yeah.
I think that he
Yeah.
was genuinely curious in asking, like, what does cocaine feel like? What does that up feel like in comparison to alcohol?
Well,
Because
yeah. Well, why are
he
you
legitimately has
chasing
no
it?
idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it better than the Sudafed I take all the time? I'm kidding.
Right. That's
That's
the
a
rumor anyway.
rumor.
That's
Rumor.
the rumor.
But like you said about JD Vance, I do feel, as like I said, it's whether we like it or not. Like, hey, here's the thing, people. Like, we can sit here and say, "Hey, I don't like Kamala's policies. I don't like Trump's policies. I don't like JD Vance's policies." And I understand that there are people who genuinely sit there and look at the policies and look at the voting records, but you are in the minority. Okay, like that's the minority, and I'm sorry, it's not.
Sadly.
I'm not trying to say that that's how it should be. I'm saying that's how it is. For most people, like you said, it kind of goes back, or a lot of people voted for John F. Kennedy because he looked handsome. A lot of people just voted him
Because
because
of the vibes
and
with a
because
Z on the end.
he was on television doing, that was the first televised debate, and he looked good. He was presentable on television, and I feel like that's kind of what we're seeing with JD Vance. It's and it's actually in the Rudyard Kipling poem If, about not losing the common touch. Like you can talk with kings and not lose the common touch. And Donald Trump does have that. There's a lot of things that Trump does not complete in the Rudyard Kipling poem, but I will say that he has not lost the common touch. He's able to come in, converse with people, make them feel listened to or respected or appreciated. I feel like if you work for him a little bit closer in the inner circle, it might be a little more chaotic and you might feel differently about him. But like you said, I think he understands, like, you need to come in and you need to appreciate people, or just it's not even, it's just a charisma. It's just something, sometimes the kids call it Riz. Some people have it, some
Is
people
that what they
don't.
call it?
Yeah, I think
RIZ?
I think.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
not
know.
really up to date
Yes,
with the
yes.
modern lingo.
Gen
Um,
Alpha can tell me, but it's true. Like you have a certain charisma, And you see it in people. Like you just see that some people can just walk in a room, converse with people, feel comfortable, make the other people feel comfortable, make them laugh. And as you said, it is not something that JD Vance has in spades. It really just is not his
I can't envision
expertise.
him having like a normal sit down conversation with just like like he could never do that Theo Vaughn interview. I'm sorry. It would be a complete disaster. Nobody would want to watch it because nobody finds him, he's got no aura. Nobody finds him interesting. He has this total like I said, what I would call the reptoid, reptilian, Silicon Valley tech oligarch sort of vibe. Lost his humanity a long time ago. Now let's contrast this. Let's do a compare and contrast here. I want to show a brief clip of RFK Jr.'s walkout entrance from the Trump event in Arizona the other day. So let's take a look at this. I don't think I can share the full audio of this because I think that Dave Grohl might come after us. Dave Grohl, the Foo Fighters,
Okay.
he might attempt to sue us.
So cool. That's so rock and roll and rebellious.
But let me just
These
find
these
this clip
losers.
here. Yeah, I know. He's a total
All of them. It's so corny. Like, come on. Trump's the devil. I can't have him play a song. RFK Jr.'s evil.
All right, can you see it?
Yes. Was Patrick Bet David there? Oh no. Okay.
So yeah, this is from Patrick Bet David's account, possibly the greatest walkout energy in the history of politics. Here we go.
JD
Let's
nowhere
check
to
this
be
out.
found.
I'm going to cut the audio off at a certain point. We can play a few seconds, I think. We're going to throw caution to the wind here because
Okay.
it's necessary for the setup here, okay? Here we go.
Okay.
I mean, come on. Come on. This
And
is your
there
vice
were
president here.
fireworks too. Do you see the fireworks?
Yeah, you're gonna see it. They're gonna show it's gonna cut to a wide shot here in a second. But my God, the energy! Like I'm getting chills right now just watching it with the audio off. Like that sign, it shouldn't say Trump Vance. It should say Trump Kennedy. Everybody knows it, and it's just at this point, if I agree with Nick Fuentes, he recently said, like, okay, if you can't get rid of Vance at this point, just hide him away somewhere. Put him in the basement of Mar-a-Lago,
Yes.
is what he
Yeah.
said. I agree 100%. Just okay, if you can't get rid of him, you know, his name, it's Trump Vance. This is the ticket. This is what it is. At the very least, put him, you know, hide him somewhere so he's not, don't send him to any public events.
Yeah.
Don't have him do any interviews. Just like he should be a footnote in this whole campaign because as we saw right there, the energy and the aura is clearly with RFK Jr. and that's just how it is.
Yes, and someone we both know who is a pretty big voice actually did put that out there and kind of went a little, it was pretty popular on X this week. Said, should RFK Jr. be swapped? And a lot of people had, well, there were some people that didn't agree, but there were a lot of people who at least wanted to weigh in on it and see if that was the case. But I don't, like I said, I'm not really sure exactly. You don't know all the behind the scenes, so you can't say that that's really the best option. But like you said, and I just really can't help but sit back. And when you see those, you see the fireworks and you see all the optics, and to compare that
Amazing optics.
and to see that with the DNC and the RNC, I really feel like we are starting to live out the beginning of idiocracy where like everything is just, can we just talk about how cringe like these conventions are? Like I feel like I'm watching an Amway cult convention. Like that's about like the Amway where they sell like it's like a multi-level marketing scheme. Like that's how I feel when I watch these conventions. And we are Collin is about to have a birthday. I just turned 34 and I'm really curious, like if you are an older listener, can you let me know were these conventions always this cringe? Like, was it always like it felt like a cult? Like, it feels like I'm watching some kind of cult induction when you see Kamala Harris come up or you see Trump. And that leads me back to this whole policy versus personality conversation. You have a lot of people on the right who are arguing and they keep pointing out that, like you said, Kamala is just running off vibes and she's just running off
Yeah.
personality.
And
What
it's
do you
working.
what do you call Trump's 2016 campaign? Was that not all vibes and personality? Like, he didn't understand the policies. Like, obviously he had some comments to make. He had some arguments, but I don't think that that was when we're really analyzing this, which obviously we are political pundits, Colin and I, experts in this field. But I'm
Oh,
saying, but when you really look at it, that was not a policy heavy campaign. That was Hillary Clinton was the policy person, correct? And Trump was the personality candidate. And he came in and he defied logic. He defied what everybody said. He defied the experts and he won the election and he won the hearts of many Americans. And I have to say, like, I agree. Like, I don't want to vote for Kamala Harris. I don't agree with her perspective, her version of reality. I don't think she's a good candidate. But I think that their strategy is not that bad of a strategy by hiding her, kind of like you were talking about JD Vance. Like, they just got her locked up, like they had Biden in
yeah.
2020, like just
Hey, it worked.
broadcasting from his basement.
It
Yeah,
worked that
It
time. So
worked.
why would you not employ the same strategy?
Yeah.
And also the strategy that they had with the mail-in ballots in 2020, well, that worked the first time and nothing changed in terms of laws or rules that I'm aware of. Like, the mail-in ballots are still a thing everywhere, correct?
For the most part, there has been some laws in certain states, but most of it is just smoke and mirrors. I don't want to say smoke and mirrors. I feel like um there are some state legislatures, there are some legislators that really are trying, like they're making attempts, but they're just facing a lot of backlash. It's just not really led. Let's be real, we don't have voter ID. Okay, like that's all we need. That's all that should be. Show up. Like, these people, like your grandfather, my grandfather, stormed the beaches in Normandy, and the least you can do is like put on a pair of pants and show up at a voting booth. Like, we're not asking
Right.
you, like, let's not, like, they're telling us democracy is at stake, and they're like, but you could also just phone in democracy. Like, you can just send a bit. Let's make this as easy as possible for
It's
you. And
like the Amazon version of democracy,
yeah,
right?
yeah. When you order it on Wish, when you order democracy.
Yeah. Well, this is
On
what happens
Temu.
when you yeah, on Temu, exactly.
This is what you have. And it kind of feels that way. Kind of does really feel that way. But I do believe that goes to a bigger conversation that we as citizens do not, no one, everybody's very apathetic. We're very defeated. We don't feel like we can actually have any hand in change. And so most of us don't. We just have like a rational ignorance. We stay out of it. We keep our mouth shut. We go shut. We go to work, we keep to ourselves. Maybe every once in a while we share a political meme. And that's the extent of our political involvement and engagement. And like I said, there is a rational ignorance that makes sense for most people to not commit their lives to this. But I feel like that's how a lot of people, that might be a big part of the problem, that most of us, just many Americans, they don't want to be involved. They don't want to be informed. And maybe this is perhaps these candidates and this Congress and these representatives are representative of a apathetic population.
Well, Karen, it's like the late great George Carlin once said, all the best land has already been bought and paid for. This country was bought and paid for a long time ago. This is the best we can do. Garbage in, garbage out. That's really what it boils down to. Garbage in, garbage out. And yeah, people have had this sense of cynicism apathy about politics for a long time, though. I mean, this feeling of it doesn't really matter, that was around when we were growing up in the 90s too. Like that was still there, with the George Carlins and
Yeah.
etc. What do you think it's worse now than what it was? Just this feeling of like nothing really matters. We can't change anything. Why even bother? The elections, are they even real?
I feel like some Americans feel that way. And then there are the loudest voices are ready for revolution on both sides. So
The
I
cockeyed
what I,
optimists.
so what I believe has taken place, and I'm not young, but I wasn't politically involved or
We're almost
savvy
ready for
when
the
I was
grave. Let's be
five.
honest. I mean, we're well past our best days and it's
We are
winding
past our
down.
prime.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
we're in
going to be
the
35 next Tuesday. Can you believe that? Like 5 years ago, I said I was really, I was really going to change things. I was really going to take the bull by the horns. But hey, I'm still here breathing air. It's not too late, right? But I didn't mean to
yeah,
take us off on
yeah.
that
No,
road.
I want to come back to that in a second, but I will just say that I feel at that time people weren't as polarized on either side, and they didn't feel there was a little bit. I believe that the ideologies were not as extreme on both sides, and people didn't feel so disillusioned. I feel like people were disillusioned but did not care. And now people are disillusioned and want to burn it all down, man. Like they want it to be, they want
Right.
anarchy. They're disillusioned, and their disillusionment is resulting in, okay, we need revolution. We need to just burn this down. We need it all over. We need to start fresh. And that's on the left and that's on the right. That sense of apathy. Whereas at that time, I feel like, hey, I can still get a good job. Things aren't that crazy. Like, what
Yeah.
difference does it? You didn't feel as much. And part of that is just the disparity, the wealth disparity. And it's not necessarily, partially that's a government thing, partially that's it's in the
It's
private
the
sector. It's
billionaires,
the
the
billionaires
millionaires, and the
yeah,
billionaires
yeah.
not paying their fair share.
Yeah, there's so much
That
that
was my Bernie impression, in
it
case you
was.
didn't know.
I think it was a good Bernie impression.
Thank
It
you.
was really, but back to the cult of personality. I did want to just say that a lot of people just sitting there saying that Kamala it's just running on vibes, it's running on personality. There's little substance, and to that, I just want to say Trump came out at the RNC to a bright golden Trump sign that was just his name, all in lights. It was
I remember I watched live.
it was all Trump. It was all about personality. It was all about him. And I'm not saying that I'm not voting for Trump. I'm just saying let's
Well,
be real, people. Like,
as much of a freak show, as much of a freak show as the RNC, well, both of them were freak shows. I think the RNC was honestly a little freakier because I mean,
I
they had a
agree.
porn star with a face tattoo come
Yeah.
out. They had
Mm.
Hulk Hogan come out. They had Kid Rock come out and sing American Badass. So overall, I think the RNC was a bit freakier. However, just to sort of counter what you were saying a little bit in terms of the Trump campaign or the RNC being all about personality, RFK actually brought this up during his longer speech that he gave in Arizona when he was announcing he was suspending his campaign. He said that during the course of the first day of the DNC, Donald Trump's name was mentioned
Yes.
something like 147 times or
Yes.
something like that.
Yes.
Whereas
Mhm.
during the entirety of the RNC, like all 4 days, they mentioned Biden's name like 2 or 3 times. So on the Democrat side, it really is. It's even. It's there's not a whole lot of policy being thrown out there besides like, don't worry, you're still going to be able to kill your baby. we're
Yeah, you're still
we're,
gonna,
we're
yeah,
gonna
you can still sacrifice the Baphomet outside or Molech.
yeah, yeah, you
Yeah.
can still
Mhm.
sacrifice your children to Moloch, the owl god. We're gonna make sure that that's
Yeah.
never threatened. Um, but no, I just wanted to mention that because really,
Yes.
the
Yeah.
Democrats, this is still like, well, you don't want Donald Trump to win, do you? Because
Yes,
he's
there's an
literally
air of
Hitler.
Trump derangement syndrome still taking place. But I feel in some ways for Kamala that I think Kamala did a good job at her. Okay, number one, I just want to say I do not support Kamala. Like you said, I think her perspective, her worldview, her voting record is radical. I think she was raised by radicals. It doesn't matter what they're projecting onto her. Like she clearly this has been the ecosystem she's existed in her whole entire life. So say what you want, but this is the truth. And their version of reality is so contrast with what I believe to be the truth. And I also don't want I don't want socialism. I don't want socialized healthcare.
I want a
So
little bit of socialism, actually. Just like, in certain areas, like the healthcare. I don't think your healthcare should be tied to a job
should
personally,
not be
but
tied to a job, but that has nothing to do with socialism or capitalism. Like that's just some dumb idea that subsists. But what I was going to say is that Kamala, on an objective sense, let's take out the policies, let's take out what you believe. We're just talking about how she presented herself on Thursday at her speech. And I listened to it Friday morning and thought she objectively did a good job. She did a good job in that speech. It was half the time that Trump's was. Let's number one. Okay. If I'm,
yeah, it was
I,
tight,
yeah, it was a
succinct.
lot more succinct. It did a good job at illustrating that she is kind of a common person, that she comes from a common background that is more relatable for most Americans. I think she did a good job explaining that she like she did a good job painting and portraying herself, whether it's true or not. We're not talking about whether this is true or not.
That's
Like, don't get
irrelevant.
angry at
The
me.
policies are irrelevant. The
Everything's
truth
irrelevant.
is
It's just the way
irrelevant.
she's presenting herself, the optics. If you're just a normie, you know nothing about what's going on. You just have seen Donald Trump for the last couple of years, and then you see this woman, and she wasn't giggly, she wasn't goofy. She really presented herself pretty strongly and presented herself as like, I am sacrificial. I think that was like one of the biggest takeaways. And I feel like if I were to be one of her advisors, I think that is where you go. You don't go that Trump's a dictator. She did do that a little bit because she mentioned about the Supreme Court ruling, but I feel like the real way to I would say, if I were her advisors, the way to get it at Trump and to put into people's minds is that he's all about himself, because that is so, number one, it's true. Like because it's true. Like you don't know whether or not Trump is a dictator, but you sure as heck know that he's all about himself. So even though she's probably the same personality as Trump, from what I've read a little bit, and from what I've heard from insiders, and she's a little narcissistic. She's a little crazy, but I feel like that she did a good job contrasting herself and saying, I'm a woman of the people. I represent the people. I'm here for people and country and the citizens. He's here for himself.
That's
And
why she
that
was at Sheetz looking for Doritos.
Yeah.
She eats Doritos just like me and you, Karen. She's
Yeah,
one of
not good.
us.
She needs to stop doing, yeah, like I think that if she just keeps getting up there and just saying that like Donald Trump is all about himself, and really in a sense, like they're up there saying that we are the party of freedom and choice, because of some parts of the Republican Party, They do. These people are very radical and fascistic. Like she's kind of right. There's a lot of fascism on the left, but there's a lot of fascism on the right. So I don't I think that is a good call on their part by kind of trying to illustrate that, like, no, they're trying to control your lives. We're trying to give you freedom, even though we were trying to force you all into vaccines just a couple of years ago. You
Right.
lose your
Just
job.
forget
Like,
about
just
that.
forget about all that.
Forget about
We're
Biden trying to.
we're letting you have abortions, and that's what matters. So
Right.
which, like, how often do people have abortions that this is like such a big, I don't even understand that. I don't want to get into that issue, but I just was thinking to myself, like,
I I think
like
the same
how,
thing. Like
like how,
I'm trying to ask. I'm trying to present this in a non-graphic way because I always say this is a Christian family show, as Alex Jones would say. Like how I don't understand how people are constantly in a situation where it's like, oops, I think we just created a life. Like, how could that keep happening like over and over again? Like, there are different methods, barriers to prevent such an occurrence. Like, how is it that you always find yourself in this scenario where you're pregnant and
yeah,
you
well,
need an abortion?
Biden and
Maybe I'm
Hillary
just
used to say, I want it to
naive.
be rare and I want it to be safe, but like keyword, they're rare. And now it's like,
That was the old
that now
guard.
we have like it's like you can go get a taco at the taco stand or an abortion, like outside of
Yeah,
the DNC. Like, which one do you want? Do you want a taco or do you want to kill some babies? Like, which one are you
it's our
trying to,
Amazon society. You can get
and
abortion on demand now as well, and you can get
yes.
your products delivered by drone pretty soon. I'm
Yeah, you
sure.
can vote by Amazon, you can get an abortion by Amazon, everything you want on demand at all times. Vaccines, you can get the 100th COVID vaccine. And I'm not a doctor. I'm not here. I know that there's a little bit more discretion in that conversation and there are DNCs. Like I said, I'm not an OBGYN, but I believe that most rational Americans know that we should not be celebrating the end of a life. And it is a life. Like, I think that if you really sit down and think about it, it's not something that should be celebrated or excited about, or and we see that the tide is turning. And that's one of the key reasons why I just can't get on board with the Democrats is that
No,
this is radical. You're taking us. Hey, I don't want to take us back to the 1950s either, but I sure as hell
I
don't want to live in
do.
your future.
I'd like to take us back to 1955 legitimately. I'll just be very
I
open about
I
that.
will say, as a woman who is college educated, really wanted to work, I am now 34 and I was wrong. I was completely wrong. I don't want to work. I want to just stay home and cook. I want to clean my
Thank you.
house. I just want to garden. And I think a lot of us women are starting to realize that we were like hoodwinked into thinking this would be
You
fun.
were
And
conned into
it's
thinking
not
that like,
fun. It is not fun.
don't you
And
want to go to the coal mines 40 hours a week and bust your see what you don't know what you're missing out on. These men, they're trying to suppress you by not sending you to the coal mine.
don't
Aren't
you
you
want to go sit
angry
in the
about
factory
this?
all day? Don't you want to
Yeah.
put the boxes together at
Burn
Amazon?
your bra
No, I
now. Take the
don't.
bra
Yeah.
off, burn it,
I don't
throw
want
it
to
in a
get
trash
up and
barrel.
check an email. I don't want to get up and go on a Zoom meeting. I don't want to have phone calls at 8 o'clock at night. I don't want it at all. I just want to get up, take care of my house. And honestly,
Thank you.
um I just want to be like a real housewife. I think that's like how we all feel. I think Colin would like to be a real housewife. Like,
Honestly,
just
like
go
if I met
shopping
a
all
woman,
day.
I was telling you this the other day. If I met a woman who is like super into her career, she's just all about her career, and she just loves me for me, I'll be happy to just stay home and hold down the fort here, take care of everything, have the supper on the table for when she comes home from whatever it is that she does, her high-powered little office
Executive.
corporate office gig, whatever the case may be. I would be more than happy to do that. On the flip side, though, like if all the women were at home doing that, I think that would sort of take the pressure off of guys in the workplace too. Like I feel it like it would be a much more casual sort of work environment if it was just like a bunch of dudes, doing. I'm sure that sounds horribly sexist to some people, and whatever.
No, I
But
understand what you're saying. I've worked on my primary job for most of my adult life has been an all male team. And I grew up with 5 brothers, so I get what you're saying. Like, and they all kind of knew that I just don't care. And I'm not really, but like you said, you have some women, and hey, sometimes like men and women are attracted to each other. It happens. But really what I'm trying to say is women should be able to work if they want to. But I'm sick of this like girl. I think everybody's past the girl boss. Like we all just want to like live on a
oh,
homestead at this point. But uh you said something that I thought was interesting, and we do have to always have like a little bit of a self-help uh
a
narrative
better
to
help
this
session.
show, because this is an ongoing better help session that we have decided to broadcast to the public. And uh you said that you are about to turn 35 this week. So obviously happy birthday, big happy birthday to Colin. We're both August babies. I am a Leo and you are I'm not good at this.
I am a
So
Virgo.
a Virgo. And that has nothing to do with anything. But what I did want to say is you were about to turn 35 and you made a statement that 5 years ago you were going to get your life together when you turned 30. But I want everybody to sit back for a moment and realize that January 1st, 2025, the year 2020 will be 5 years in the past. Think about that for a moment. Think about all of the thoughts you had about the future in the year 2020 and what you thought the world was going to look like in 5 years. I know, Colin, you moved to Florida thinking that Pennsylvania was going to become some kind of fascist
Hellscape.
hellscape. And I'm not saying that we're not moving in that direction, that we shouldn't all be preppers.
I'm hopeful
I don't
that you'll
have a
get to
crystal
that
ball.
stage there.
Yes. Yeah. And I'll have to come down. We'll be driving. We'll be like at the checkpoints. But remember, there were my neighbors are snowbirds to Florida, and there were checkpoints as you were coming into Florida because so many people were fleeing their states. Uh, and yeah, it's just really I saw maybe a meme about that the other day, and it really just stopped me in my tracks that I had all of us thought so much about what was going to happen in 2020. And I guess what my encouragement is to people that the world kept spinning. Like the world kept going, things kept happening. So don't be defeated. Don't be disillusioned with the world and with society. I just had and I get it, like Klaus Schwab, you're not going to own anything. You'll be happy by 2030. But hey, guess what? The Lord in heaven laughs, is what it says in the Bible. When the kings of this world make their plans, when they are plotting and scheming, it says the Lord in heaven laughs. So they can plot and scheme. They can say that they're going to do this, and he laughs. And so we have no idea what is going to happen in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years. But what I will tell you is that godly principles, read your Proverbs every single day. You live your life by those principles. It does not matter if the tanks come rolling down the street. It does not matter if a nuclear bomb hits America. It doesn't matter what happened. It doesn't matter if we get sent to war. It doesn't matter if we live the most prosperous, wonderful next 50 years of our lives. Those principles are always going to be true, and they are always going to give you they are words to live by, and you will have a rich, fulfilling life no matter what happens. So I like I said, I just wanted to encourage people because I get it. Like I sit there all the time. Like I try to think about, like you said, like where am I going to be? I just had a birthday. I just turned 34. And I sit there and I hear people tell me to think about like, where am I going to be at 40? Start thinking about 5 years. And it's a daunting task because like you said, but my 40th birthday will be in the year 2030. Well, Klaus Schwab says I'm not going to own anything. So should I even worry about buying a house? Should I even worry about doing this? And it also says in the Bible that in the last days that people will be giving, they will be having they will be giving away in marriage. Like we will be living our lives, things will be moving, will be turning. So I just want to encourage people, like, don't don't be so bogged down by the recessions and the wars and the elections. Like, look at what's right in front of you, what you can control. Look at what is right in front of you, the people God has blessed you with, the job God has blessed you with, the skills and the talent and the brain God has blessed you with, and be grateful for it, nurture the people around you, and you will be okay. It won't matter what happens. But sorry, I
And
did
to
not
your
expect
point,
that.
no, I'm glad that you went off on that little soliloquy, Karen. And to your point, these plotters and schemers, these puppet masters, if
Yeah.
you will, they're not very impressive people
No.
when you peel back the curtain and take a look at who we're dealing with here, like Klaus Schwab and Bill Gates and all these Batman villains. They're really not that impressive at all. And at the end of the
Absolutely.
day, as you said, what are we all supposed to do? Just curl up in a ball in the corner in fear and just stop everything? No, we've got to go about our lives. We've got to go about making sure that, like you said to me earlier today, Karen, are you better than the version of yourself yesterday? And today I can honestly say I feel better than yesterday. I do feel like I started the day off on a better foot. Like I was saying to you, got up a little bit earlier, made sure that I was fueled for the podcast, had a nutritious breakfast, had some avocado, had a little cheeseburger, no bun, of course. Just what I do is I take a tortilla wrap and I cut it in half, and then I cut the half in half, and like that's my bun. You know what I mean?
Yes,
So
yes.
that's
Just a
my
little bit, yeah. Have a little bit of
yeah,
carbs, but not too
right.
crazy, not too much Monsanto poison.
No.
I totally get it.
Well,
I
and
think
hey,
you're
pretty
just
soon
I think you're just in a good mood because you don't have the Sunday scaries.
that's true. I
That
did take off the
because you
next two
took off.
days. And I was just going to say too, pretty soon we won't have to worry about Monsanto or high fructose corn
You're
syrup or
right.
anything, because RFK is going to be in that cabinet position. He's going to make America healthy again. He's going to get rid of all the additives and fillers and like uh, like Donald Trump said the other day. What did he say? He said something like, "Every day is just going to be filled with hope and opportunity." It was this ridiculous statement. It
I'm
made it
gonna like
sound
I
like,
never do affirmations, which I don't necessarily dismiss affirmations. I think I do make fun of manifesting a lot, but I understand it's I believe some affirmation, it depends on your approach, but like your words are really important. So if you're constantly telling yourself like you're a failure, you're fat, you're a loser, you're no good, yeah, you're going to kind of fulfill that. So it is kind of good,
well,
but I
you know why
think
they
that
call them spellings? Like if you spell out these words, there's spellings. Spell,
yeah.
you're casting a spell.
Oh,
See?
wow.
Spellings.
Little bit of
That's no
basic
accident.
witch for our Sunday. Well, I will say that that should be our daily affirmation. Like I'm gonna like find that Trump clip and like put it on my phone and just like play it every morning and be like,
Yeah,
every day is gonna be filled with joy and
I
opportunity.
can't remember if it was a tweet or a truth, or if he actually said, no, I think he said it actually. He's like, every day is going to be filled with hope
Hope and
and
hope.
optimism and joy. Like it made it sound like once he gets in there, man, it's just going to be like this paradise on earth. Like we won't even have to wait for the second coming, really, because it's already going to be so perfect, you
Well,
know?
I want to tell you too, because you were talking about how we're okay with a little bit of socialism. So earlier today, I was listening to RFK's full speech, and when I put it on YouTube, it came up with an ad. It was Obama, and he was like asking for donations for Kamala. And I'm like, aren't you supposed to be giving me money? Like, isn't that the point
Yeah.
of this whole, like, isn't that why people voted for you in the first place, was for you to give us money, not for us to give you money? This is ridiculous. Like,
Yeah, it's like
Obama's
the
like,
shoes on the other
yeah,
foot
yeah.
now.
He's like at Martha's Vineyard, like, we need you. And I'm like, no, you
You
need to
don't
give
need
me.
anything from me,
Yeah, you
pal.
don't need
I
it.
I need I need you. I need what's in
Yeah.
your bank account to be transferred to me on a bi-weekly basis.
And really, that's like, when people ask me about politics from now on, like, my real belief is just that, look at that. Like, look at how much money is spent on elections. It is
It's obscene.
disgusting. If all of the dollar, like, you want universal health care, why don't you start a fund, a nonprofit that funds people's health care, that goes and pays off private bills for health care? Like, put your money where your mouth is. Like, it's not about making this country better for people. It's about power. Like, let's be real. The money is about power. The billionaires want power. They want, why was Hunter Biden being paid by Burisma? It was to get to the big guy. Like, it's not about you.
And we
It's
know
not
who the
about
big
making
guy
things better for
was.
you. It's about having control. And it's, like I said, it's just really, really sad when you see the amount. I mean, you could say maybe the dollars trickle down, but I haven't been paid by any. I had the Democratic National Convention hasn't, they haven't been giving me any money, neither is the RNC. But like I said, like, when you think about that, it's so overwhelming. That'll make you feel disillusioned and defeated. That really makes me feel disillusioned and defeated, to just think about the amount, the gross amount of dollars that just gets wasted to pay all these like weirdos to work in these campaigns. And hey, some of the people are nice, but like, you know what I mean? You
I don't
people get
understand
it.
why they all can't be publicly funded. Like, if you want to run for office, like I'm not a big believer in super PACs or PACs. I think every single election should be publicly funded. You should have to ask the people who you're allegedly representing to send you $1 if they want to see you in office. Like, why should it come from some sort of nameless, faceless corporate oligarch? Those are just my thoughts.
Why in this day and age, they should like shut down all the advertising. There should be like, you should not even be allowed to pay for a political ad. You should not be able to pay for anything on X, on YouTube, on television. Like, get rid of all of that. Like, I don't want any of the, nobody should be able to knock on your door. We can just broadcast it on YouTube, PBS, and X. Just do debates like every week leading up to the election. No dollars are spent, no money. Like, that's it. And it really is because of the way our elections work. Like, in other countries, they don't have this like 10-year election cycles where people are running in like perpetually.
Right.
But like you said, like, it's kind of like the universities too. Like, the universities, instead of like making it so their professors can get paid more money, they spend like all this money like making the dorms look like a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, or like sending out all these like all these like ad campaigns, and like spending on all this nonsense instead of just like actually educating people. And it's kind of the same with politics. Like, we're just going to spend all this money on nonsense instead of actually changing the country or doing anything for the citizens, while we poison you every day with Monsanto and poison your brains with TikTok. Like, that, we're not really, and make you go to jobs for 50 hours a week and
That are
never see your
meaningless.
families. And yeah, like, it's like,
Totally
it's like
meaningless.
none of this is actually to educate you, inform you, create a
No,
better existence. It's just for power. It's just for
it is not a
control.
government for, of, and by the people. Not.
Consume and obey. Well,
That's right. They live, we sleep.
exactly. Well, I think it's time for us. I did want to mention, we did have a comment that I wanted to. I think we only had like 2 comments. Nobody cares
Oh,
about us anymore.
I didn't even have the comments pulled up.
I do have I thought it was interesting. Somebody, so we had Puckett's Metal Works, said that we were talking about how like lawyers should not, like Congress is made up primarily of lawyers, and we want to see a little bit more diversity. We would like to see maybe somebody that works at OnlyFans, maybe somebody that,
Yeah, I want some
yeah,
OnlyFans models, some plumbers,
yeah,
some gas station.
bartenders. Well, we already
Yes,
have a bartender with AOC. Thank
that's
you.
right. We do
Thank
already have a
you.
bar. Yeah, but she's already been corrupted though, so it's
Yeah, yeah, we need somebody. So he said, yes, as for the lawyers, they are the biggest problem with politics. Thank you. But he disagreed with me about
we don't like that.
about the
We don't like
pajama
anybody to
people.
disagree
No,
with
no,
us.
I liked it. I thought it was funny. He said, I disagree. So we were talking about the people that go to Walmart in their pajamas and they look disheveled. And I, always being the eternal optimist, just said that they need to be we should feel pity for these people, and we should they are not living their best lives.
Meanwhile, I
And
was thinking they should be blank, and I'm not going to say it. We're on YouTube. You know,
yeah,
you've
well,
listened to me enough
I
times
think
though to know
somebody
what I mean.
disagrees with you. So I was just saying that this is a kind of like a disease, a mindset disease. It's not just because they're lazy, but there's kind of this depression, defeatism. Defeatism has become my word of the day, like Pee-wee's Playhouse. That's the word. Every time I say it, you can scream. But
Take a shot every time.
so yeah, so people, I was just trying to say that like when you're depressed and when you grow up being told you're no good and that you can't achieve anything, it is hard to pull yourself up from the bootstraps when it's a disease of the mind. So he disagreed with me. He said it's absolutely a form of laziness. My mother always told me never leave the house in dirty underwear. Your personal bare minimum should be get out of bed and get a shower. I think that's what he said. Yeah. So, put some real clothes on and take a shower and put some real clothes
I
on.
agree with our listener.
I listen, I think that is the minimum. I agree that, and if you do it, you're going to feel better. If you decide to not wear the pajamas, you get a shower, you go out in real clothes, you're going to feel better. You're going to feel, I really do feel like there is a connection to that. I'm just saying that not everybody was blessed to have a mom that instilled a sense of work ethic in you. Like, unfortunately, I mean, look around at some of the people that are raising children today, and yikes.
Their children. It's like children raising other children. It's not
Yeah.
going to work out too well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's just, I was just trying to say that I do think there is some laziness. So I think that he would agree. I think Puckett's Metalworks would agree that people should be showing up with an ID and voting, and that is a form of laziness. That's where I do agree that no, it is a form of laziness to mail in a ballot. My grandfather was like 87 years old. His belt was like falling down. And guess what? He showed up at the polling booth. Okay. Like he showed up every single time. So you're able bodied. I don't want to hear that because you have agoraphobia and you're on disability that you can't show up. No, you can
Karen, I
show
think
up.
that's racist. Everything that you're saying is very racist right now. Don't you know that these underprivileged minorities, they don't have the means or the knowledge to be able to acquire an ID. So please tone it down with your racism a little bit, then have some
I know. I'm just
consideration
really,
for
yeah, I'm
the
showing my stripes today.
yeah, you're showing your privilege, and
Yeah.
I don't really appreciate it. But
Well, you
listen,
know what time it is. Should we read your horoscope since your birthday's coming up?
I was going to say, so let's do Kamala's, let's do Trump's, and then let's do mine, Virgo. Let's do it for my actual birthday though, which
Okay,
would be
can
August
you pull that
27th.
up? Okay. So wait, how do I do, I have to do it for that day? Like your horoscope for that day?
Well, are these
Or
horoscopes?
you want a horoscope by the day?
Yeah,
Horoscope.
yeah, horoscope by the day.
So we do a little bit more of a broad horoscope, but since Colin is a special snowflake, we are going to do exactly for his birthday, which is coming up this week. Hold
You
on.
you can do the broad one for me. Is it for the
No,
whole week or
no.
is it for the day?
It's only for the day.
Okay.
So I know you probably have a problem with that fact. It's just a shorter one. So that's why
I want to be specific.
hold on. I'm trying to find
Like Jordan Peterson says, be precise, be precise.
the let me see if I can look up. I apologize, people. Colin just threw this on me at the last minute.
I know, I threw a curveball. I threw a
Alright, so-
curveball.
Okay, so this is. Oh, no, 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 no. I need your actual horoscope for you.
Should I read my own?
You think you should, because I'm so confused. August 27th has a special glow. I kind of want to read this to you. Wait, no, that's August 20th. Oh, okay. Yes, I think that this is actually for you. So it's August 27th, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. All right, let's start with, do we start with Kamala, you said? Kamala.
Yeah, let's start with Kamala. And
And
then
I
let's
just
do
want to put
Trump.
it out there. People are acting like it's racist or it's prejudiced or it's, I don't know, misogynistic to pronounce her name incorrectly. Her friend from school pronounces her name Kamala. Okay. This person has known her almost 60 years. And she said, Kamala, Kamala, Kamala. So, hey, it's not a big deal. People get stuff wrong. Okay.
I say Kamala, and I
Kamala.
refuse to say anything different because I don't know if you're familiar with the wrestler Kamala, the Ugandan giant.
Okay, no, I'm not. I'm
He,
sorry.
I think he had the first casket match with the Undertaker at a SummerSlam, if I'm not mistaken. But maybe we'll show a clip from that next week or something.
Kamala.
Kamala, the
I
Ugandan
think that's
giant.
right.
Look him up.
Okay. So for Kamala, who is a Libra, for today, Sunday, August 25th, I can't even believe it's already August 25th. You need to choose a path and stick with it. You have chopped and changed so often in recent weeks that you are no longer sure which direction you are facing. If you don't know your own mind, how can you expect others to assist you? Interesting.
Very interesting.
Right. Gemini for former President Donald Trump, Republican
DJT.
nominee, DJT. As your ruling planet Mercury is coming to the end of its retrograde phase, you need to look back at the changes you made in recent weeks and ask yourself honestly if you made the right calls. JD Vance,
Yeah, I was
maybe?
gonna say, as it pertains to VP picks.
Well, you might like what Sally Brampton from the New York Post astrology department has to say. She concludes, there is still time to change them back again.
So this is not set in stone. There's no law, there's no rule. This error, this grave error can be corrected in mid-flight. So we'll see.
I like to think that Sally listens to us and that she writes them knowing we're going to read them on Sundays. I like
She
to
might,
think that.
honestly.
She might. I mean, we're
who knows
that.
who's
Yeah.
listening?
Who knows? Who knows? The Trump campaign, Putin.
Yeah,
Xi Jinping.
I hope I hope Putin's listening because this provides like the most accurate window into the West. I think this podcast here and into like regular Americans,
Yes, absolutely.
real Americans,
Real
us.
America. So this is from zodiacsign.com. August 27th, Zodiac. But this is for today, August 20. Wait, that's for tomorrow, August 26th.
Doesn't
I don't know.
Sally,
Let me just read this to
just
you.
stick to your original
Hold on.
plan. How about that?
August
Don't listen
20,
to me
I
for
like
anything.
this. I like
ever.
this though. August 27th has a special glow to it that people often fail to instantly recognize simply because of the shine nature of this period. A lot of strength hides in the minds of people born on this date. and their need to break the rules. Their own limitations and frustration may make them edgy, but at the same time, it makes them new, innovative, and powerful. If their physiology isn't strengthened enough, they may become neurotic and too irritable.
Okay, a lot of
But
this hits very close to home, actually.
that's more describing you. That's do you want to hear what a great birthday gift is for August 27th?
Sure.
Birthday gifts for Virgos born on the 27th of August should be surprising, friendly, readable, or eccentric enough to boost their imagination. Make something yourself or manage to organize several people to get them involved in something that will truly sweep them off their feet. This does not sound like you at all. They will enjoy a bonfire, fireworks, and all the things that shine and remind them of the light in the dark they carry with them.
You picture me at a bonfire, Karen?
No.
I didn't think so.
Oh my God. Unless they're talking about the fireworks that were on stage with RFK Jr. and Trump, I don't
It
think
could
that
be.
any
Could
of
be. I
that
did get
really-
chills. The hair on my arms did stand up.
I'm not seeing. Well, let's just read who has a famous birthday that shares a birthday.
Just
with
go
you.
back to your original plan. Just
Okay,
do
okay, we will.
whatever
I
you did for
just-
Trump and Kamala. Kamala.
Guess who shares a birthday? Lyndon. Here are a few Virgo celebrities born on August 27th. Lyndon B. Johnson.
LBJ. Murder
And
JFK.
somebody I've never heard of is called Tuesday Weld.
I know I do share a birthday with Alex Lifeson, who is the guitarist of the progressive rock band Rush. You may have heard of them.
Oh yeah, I love Rush. Okay, well, I will share my Rush story another time, but because I'm going to read your Virgo, Sally Brown. Why would you ever question the stars and the energetics of Sally? All right, so for Virgo, today, August 25th, you may not have been on the best terms with certain people of late, but when Mercury, your ruler, moves in favor again in midweek, the issues that have divided you will no longer seem so important. The simple fact is they never were. So Mercury rules you and it rules Donald Trump, apparently.
Who do I have issues with right now? I don't even talk to anybody except for you and like the people I work with through a
maybe
webcam,
maybe
through a screen.
maybe it was because I came late. I was on late today because my coffee was more important than your time. Maybe
No, I don't think that's what it was actually. I don't there's got to be something deeper. Maybe somebody from my past who I used to work with, who I perceive that there is an issue with, and that's why I won't reach out. But then again, I'm trying to leave what's in the past in the past. I'm trying to leave all these people. It's like, hey, they know where to find me if they do want to talk to me. I'm not gonna be the one to extend my
You're too good for
feelers.
that. Too good.
Yeah. Hey, if you want to talk to me, just hit me up.
Well, I hope that everyone enjoyed this episode. I have sometimes went in strange paths, but at least we did not attack 90% of the population this week as we did last week.
I know 90% of the disgusting
tattooed.
population that is tattooed. It's okay though. We
But yeah, we will be back next week for a special Labor Day edition. And because it is the turning of the seasons, I'm thinking we're going to have to do a pretty heavy basic witch episode with some pumpkin, some of all those goodies. So that is something to look forward to.
Tis the season, Karen. It's coming up. I'm excited. We're about to enter that meaty part of the curve, as George Costanza would say. These are the best months of the year approaching us. But hey, listen, thank you to all who have hung in there with us until the end. We appreciate you listening to our ramblings, our musings, Karen's soliloquies. She always has something enlightening and inspiring to say, as you found out today. And hit that subscribe button on YouTube. give us a like on X, follow us on X, subscribe to us on Rumble, and we'll be back right here next week with another fun-filled, jam-packed, enlightening, educational episode of the ReEducation Camp podcast. So we'll see you then.